starting at some point during the Mark I run, they instituted shrouds that kind of went in here, one on each side, and then you always had, from what I understand, radiator shrouds that kind of mounted in here and came out to here that just ducted the air into the radiator. So that was one of the things that I always was looking at purchasing and just never really did. They're not incredibly cheap. I think they were, even from Rimmers when they were on sale, they were $60 or $70 a side, and they're made out of cardboard. So they're, you know, they're in the road, they're in the weather, they're probably not going to last too long. Well, somebody on my favorite forum did a group buy recently on a gentleman out of England that makes his own stamped from aluminum for both the Spitfire and the GT6. So in this package right here, I should have a complete set of shrouds for Dorothy. So I haven't opened them yet. I'm excited to look at them. I specifically waited on opening them until I could show you guys, so we'll see these together. Best part is the return address is Coventry, which is where the somewhere around in there was where the factory was, the Triumph factory. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so very well packed here, all unbubbled and then wrapped up in extra cardboard. These should be the shrouds for the into the radiator. I don't know what this is, mounting brackets looks like. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Nice wrinkle coat finish on that. That's really sharp. And obviously they're handed. So those are the main shrouds that go down the side of the car. And then these are the shrouds that go leading into the radiator. And again, like I said, I think these are the brackets. Yep, and then the brackets. There's three of them. I don't know if he gave me an extra or what. But again, it's all aluminum. There's not a lot of weight to it, but it's not cardboard. So really nice. Seem to be very well put together. I really like that crinkle coat. You know how I feel about crinkle coat. So I'm just going to kind of set them up right now. I don't have all the hardware to bolt the stuff up. I don't have the little bolts. But I'll just kind of put them up there real quick and show you what it's going to look like. So here's the driver's side. There's clips welded to the firewall, which I left on because I knew eventually I was going to do this. And then it's got adjustable clips on that. And then I'm not real sure where it bolts up on the front here. Dorothy never had them, so I never had to worry about taking them off. I don't know if I'm missing brackets, if the brackets that the thing came with probably is what it is since I got 3 of those. This shroud here I think probably bolts up into this top bolt here and sits up a little bit higher. And I know that the shroud is also going to fit inside of the radiator support line there, but I don't want to take that off just to size it up. But it's got a little cutout down here to clear the steering column boot, and then it just kind of bolts on. So yeah, so these brackets are going to go something like this. They'll bolt up here and maybe bolt to that top bolt into this middle bolt down here. I imagine that's how it's going to go. So that's why I got 3 of them, because this one's taller because it doesn't have the carburetors to worry about. Here's the passenger side. It's not as well lit over here, but you can see that that's only got the 1 set. But anyway, that's pretty cool. Do you need it? No. Does it complete the package? Absolutely. Try and put them on there for some reason, so I'm not going to argue. But I like it. It was about with shipping and handling and everything coming from Britain and all that kind of stuff, it was about 130 bucks for all of that, which is still cheaper, I think. I haven't priced the stuff in a while, but I think that's all cheaper than the cardboard stuff is, and obviously made out of aluminum. It's going to last a hell of a lot longer. So I've been going back and forth with this thing for a couple weeks now with the shrouds. I do have the original shrouds, well, not original, but the ones that Newtown or Newton commercial make, and and they're essentially identical to the metal ones that I have. There's the radiator shrouds, and they kind of go in okay. You can see I got a J-nut here and a J-nut here. Interestingly, there's 2 holes here, and there's 2 holes here, and they're not symmetrical. But then again, the radiator doesn't appear to be symmetrical. At least the bracket is. If you can see that mounting point, you've got, I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches to the edge here, and only 1 or 2 inches to the edge here. So then I'm like, well, maybe I'm off there, maybe something's screwing it up. But I have another radiator cowl thing there, bracket, and everything lines up. There's a bracket there, there's a bracket there. That's where the side shrouds connect, and then they also connect up on these multiple holes here. Now these are 3 holes, and that's not the way that this bracket is. That bracket's only got 1 hole each, if you can see those, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. The other thing is you've got the support brackets here that come in, and they're handed. They're constructed differently down here, so those are fine. Double check that. The problem is that these shrouds just aren't lining up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like I said, the radiator shrouds in the front here line up okay. I can put those in. I'll probably go ahead and do that. But the side shrouds do not line up. So as much as I hate to, I mean, I love the things. They're well put together. They look cool. They seem to be well designed. I'm not so sure that it's not the original design, but the car just being different. Also, I think they changed the shroud design, so I'm pretty confident I got the correct shroud. I asked for the correct shroud. So, but anyway, what we're going to do today is make this fit, essentially, whether we like it or not, or the last resort will be to order the cardboard shrouds or make my own. Alright, so we're going to put the shroud in on this side, and these are handed, if you can see. It's got a little leg down here that kind of makes it handed, and it fits on the inside in between the radiator and the bracket, and there's 3 holes in the bracket that you probably really can't see, and then the one in the J-clip that's in the frame. And what I'm using are black, little black 3/8 inch long screws, panhead screws. Flat washer on the inside because this hole is so big here that the screw would obviously go right through it. So I need a large flat washer there. And then on the other side, a lock washer and a nut. Now it's pretty tight between the hole and the edge of the bracket here. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers, I haven't tried it yet, to see that the nuts all fit. Because what happens is if you put them in, if you put the screws in like this with the pan head on the inside, it's fine, it doesn't rub. But if you put it in with the threads going towards the radiator, the threads rub on the radiator, and though they don't, get near the core or the fins or anything like that, it just doesn't look as good in my opinion. All right, I'm not going to tighten these down all the way right now. Just leave them a little bit loose. And then here for the leg on the bottom, again, just a little captive nut in there. 7/16 bolt, flat washer, lock washer. All right, so that one's in. Same thing on the other side, rinse and repeat. I'll knock that out real quick, and then we'll get to the more difficult stuff. So this is the side shroud for the passenger side. 2 holes, hopefully you can see those. 2 mounting holes down here, and the 2 holes that have their slots adjustable back there. And it's got a little cutout here, and that's for the steering boot that's down there that you probably can't see. So anyway, this should fit down here like so. And there's suspension bolts and everything here that you got to watch for the A-arms, and this should all be inside of all that stuff. I'm struggling with it to get in right now. There we go. So the hole is way up here to mount this portion of the bracket. So right there is about where that hole sets. Well, to make that hole work, this thing's got to be tilted quite a bit, which is fine. But what's happening is I'm rubbing on the firewall here, And while it's okay in a static sense, what I'm afraid of is over time, it's just going to slowly but surely break in and rattle in and cut into my firewall, the Raptor liner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially trim that corner off a little bit, get this lined up, do some marking and things like that, and see how it fits. I may have to cut a little bit more, a little bit less, but this side here doesn't fit too bad. It's the other side that's going to be a real pain in the ass. So in the back here, I'm just going to shave off a little bit of the corner. Really can't see that well. In the front here, this is the original bracket, not the original, but this is the bracket that I got with the kit. And you can see that it's not symmetrical. You got a short side and a long side. In my determination so far, it should have been like 2 short sides. So what's happening is I have the bracket here and it will go into this hole, and then back here the holes are too far set back, but they're not that bad. I can just barely see the holes in the plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a drill and I'm going to go ahead and drill those holes out and kind of make them slotted a little bit and modify that bracket, cut this corner off so they don't have any rubbing down there, and then I think I might be able to bolt it in on this side. Alright, got this side in. This wasn't too bad. Trim this edge off here, expanded the holes on this bracket, got it all in, and that fits pretty well. I do have some hitting right here, so what I'm probably going to do is cut out. This is the shock tower. You can't see it, but the screw extends up behind this thing and it smacks into that. So probably what I'm going to do is just I'll put a little relief cut in there. So I said the fit was much worse, and it's really not that bad. This one does come in on an angle like this, and I don't know, frankly, if that's right or wrong. It's not nice and straight like the other one is, but you can definitely see that there's a difference in depth between the bracket that's here and the radiator thing. So again, these brackets, I think they should have been, at least for my application, they should have been equal. So I'm gonna have to drill some holes in this, and this one is a little bit more deep than the other one. So instead of expanding the existing hole here, I'm essentially gonna have to make brand new holes. So I'm just gonna line that up, mark it from the back here, chop the holes, and then probably cut the excess off. And this has got 2 brackets, top and bottom, and then radiator connects the same way. You got another radiator support arm that connects the same way and all that. I already got these brackets connected in the back here that you can see. So this one's not as bad as I thought it was when I was playing with. What I don't like, however, is this big heavy corner right here. Besides the fact that I can see myself just gouging the heck out of my arm or something like that on it. So what I'm gonna do is, when I get all done and get this lined up, that'll be the last thing I do to make sure I've got my final fit. I'm just gonna go ahead probably and lop that off and square that off. Once I'm done, I'll just take some touch-up paint. I've got some black oil-based somewhere in here. I'll go ahead and touch all these things up so that they get protected and let that dry. Take it all back apart, let that dry. So not as bad as I was having problems with the other day. So I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm, different day. Alright, well that ended up coming out a little bit better than I thought it would. I'm going to go ahead and cut these down just to make them a little bit more presentable. And I think I'm going to go ahead and take just a little bit off of here because that's where it's closest to rubbing, just like I did on the other side. And again, I am going to go ahead right below the level of the radiator here and square that off, just to you know, prevent me from gouging into my arm or anything like that. And then I'll go ahead and touch all this stuff up with some paint, and it'll be good to go. So not too bad, but you can see, I think here, kind of how crooked that is, but it's not bowed. I was afraid it would be bowed. This one is bowed just a little bit, but I think that'll be relieved a little bit when I get rid of that. You can see now barely that shock tower screw sticking up back there. I'm hoping that when I cut that relief into there, that'll work. This one's not even close. So again, who knows if this is what this is supposed to look like. This was about 20,000 or so from the commission numbers. That's when they put these side shrouds on. I'm not quite sure exactly what the point was, if it was a cooling thing or whatever it was, or just road splash or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take care of the rest of that stuff and call this good. All right, well, this shrouds are in. This one here is bowed a little bit. You can see, and what's happening here is these screws are just kind of coming through and hitting the shroud of the radiator. I may be able to flip them around and make that work, but I'll see how that comes out. But otherwise, those are all in, they're all tight, and the relief over here worked really well with getting around the shock tower. So that one's definitely better than this one over here. So like I said, I'll play with it a little bit more, but I think this piece is just a little bit too long for the car generally. So I think that's what's going on. But anyway, not a bad investment. I like the look, especially since they're aluminum and not the paper. So though there was some modification going on there, you know, that's what we're used to with these older cars. So thanks a lot.